Hey YouTube, this is Primetime Pokemon. In this video, I'll be giving away and reviewing the Ring of Lightning Steam Siege theme deck. And this is a Psychic and Lightning type theme deck that is based around Hoopa. So the way that my giveaways work and my theme deck reviews is that 99% of this video will be a theme deck review, and then at the very end I will state how to be eligible for this giveaway. Last month I reviewed and then gave away the Gears of Fire theme deck. I like that theme deck quite well, gave it a 4 out of 5 rating. So we'll see how this theme deck compares. So I'll turn the theme deck box around and you can see what's exactly on the inside, what you'll win if you do get this theme deck in my giveaway. But I'll read the description here, and it says, control crackling currents. Bring forth lightning and psychic shocks with the mythical Pokemon Hoopa. Galvantula's electric webs and the surging power of Ampharos keep the current flowing and give your opponent quite a shock. Call down the thunder. And then it just states what you'll see on the inside of the box and then the checklist. And theme decks are usually $11.99 in stores. You can usually find them anywhere between $9 and about $13 online and in any retail stores. But for the most part, they are $11.99. So inside of the deck, you get the playmat, damage counters and condition markers, the checklist for Steam Siege, Pokemon coin. There it is right there. Just like so. Gold in color. Like that quite a bit. Okay. And then you get the theme deck box with 59 cards in it. Of course, the 60 is that holofoil Hoopa card. And there is the code card and then the actual Hoopa special holofoil pattern to it. It's normally a rare non-holo. So there are all the items that you can win with this theme deck. And of course I had already opened the theme deck just because I wanted to organize the cards, and now I'll get to reviewing this deck. So open the deck box here. I'll go through the Pokemon first, the trainers, and then the energy cards. So first card that I'll take a look at here is Hoopa, and outside of that special holofoil pattern, there's one of these, so 2 total. So Hoopa, 130 HP for a basic, good HP. There's 2 moves on this card, Hyperspace Punch and Portal Strike. Hyperspace Punch for 1 colorless energy card says this attack does 20 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, so it would work good in a spread attack type deck. And then Portal Strike for 3 psychic type energy cards does 130 damage. However, this Pokemon can't use Portal Strike during your next turn. So I like both of those moves quite well. Of course, you're going to want to use Hyperspace Punch right away, and that'll spread the damage around. And then Portal Strike later on once you get it set up, or potentially if you set it up on the bench, then you can do major damage to just 1 active Pokemon. But if you get it in the active Pokemon spot right away with Hyperspace Punch, you potentially can knock out 2 or 3 Pokemon after a couple of turns if you're facing a lot of weaker basic Pokemon. So next up here, there's a 3-2 line of Drifloon and Drifblim. So Drifloon, is a basic 60 HP, so a good HP, and it says it has 1 move that requires 1 colorless energy, and it's called Transfer Pain. It says move 1 damage counter from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this works very well with Hoopa and the spread attack type deck, and also heals your own Pokemon at the same time. So 3 Drifloon and then 2 Drifblim. 100 HP, so above average HP. 2 moves on this one, Eerie Wave and Burst Curse. Eerie Wave for 2 colorless energy cards or 1 double colorless energy does 30 damage, plus it confuses the defending Pokemon. And then Burst Curse does for 2 psychic energy cards, it says to discard 2 energy attached to this Pokemon, put 8 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. So the first 3 cards I've reviewed in this deck all do spread attack type damage. I really like this deck so far. So next up here, there is a 3-2 line of Litwick and Lampent. No Chandelure, but there is a Chandelure you could use from the Steam Siege set. So a little bit lower HP for Litwick. One move called Slightly Simmer. And it says to search your deck for up to 2 cards and discard... Search your deck for up to 2 cards and discard them. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So this is playing on a potential that one of your Pokemon has a move or a side effect of a move that allows you to retrieve cards from your discard pile. So right now it doesn't make much sense why it's in this deck, but we'll hopefully see that shortly why that would be there. So Lampent, a little lower HP for stage 1. 2 moves, Mirror Mirror and Flickering Flames. Mirror Mirror says each player either draws or discards cards until that player has 4 cards in his or her hand. And then Flickering Flames for 2 energy cards does 20 damage plus puts your opponent's active Pokemon to sleep. So potentially what you could do is you could set up Litwick on the bench, evolve it into Lampent, get 2 energy cards on Lampent, put it in the active Pokemon spot and use Flickering Flames. Put the defending Pokemon to sleep, then retreat Lampent, and then put out something like a Drifblim and use Burst Curse or Hoopa and use Hyperspace Punch and spread damage around while your opponent's active Pokemon is still sleeping. So that's the strategy I would use there. And that's it for the Psychic type Pokemon in this deck. Now we're on to the Lightning type. There is a 3-1 line of Joltik and Galvantula. And Joltik, very low HP. Only 30, but it does do 10 damage for 1 Lightning Energy card and has a free retreat cost. I really wouldn't want to use this card at all in the active Pokemon spot just because it's so easily knocked out in one move, especially later in the game. But I guess if you're desperate or if you have to start the game, it's not terrible. You can use it 1 turn and then retreat it. Galvantula, first dual type card that I've talked about in this deck. Dual type Pokemon, of course, are new to the XY series of sets. And the way that they work, 2 different types here. So that way, its resistance is to 2 types of Pokemon, and at the same time weakness too. So it's really a double whammy where it can be super effective against 2 different types of Pokemon, but then you're going to be weaker to 2 types of Pokemon as well. So 2 moves on this Galvantula card, both require 1 energy card. So there's Double Thread. This attack does 30 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Like that, works well with the spread attack theme that we're going with this deck so far. And then Electro Web does 30 damage, and it makes your opponent's active Pokemon unable to retreat during their next turn. So I like Galvantula quite well, especially with Hoopa and then Lampent and the Drifloon. So not so much Lampent, but more likely the Drifblim is the one that I'm thinking of. So Hoopa and Drifblim would be the 2 that this card will work very nicely with. And then we're on to a 3-2-2 line of Mareep, Flaffy, and Ampharos. Surprised I actually put 2 rare cards with Ampharos here. So Mareep, 60 HP, good HP. There's Thunder Wave and Tackle. Thunder Wave paralyzes the defending Pokemon if you get a heads when you flip a coin. And then Tackle does 20 damage for 2 energy cards. So not the greatest a card there. I mean, it can be used, but you're more than likely want to keep it on your bench and evolve it into Flaffy. So Flaffy, a good HP for stage 1. Ram does 20 damage for 1 colorless energy card. And then Thunder Shock does below average damage for 3 energy cards, but you can also paralyze the defending Pokemon if you get a heads when you flip a coin. So I'm seeing a recurring theme here. There's a lot of spread attack type moves where you spread damage around. So you do 10 damage here, 10 damage there, 10 damage there. And a lot of moves that can paralyze, confuse, and put to sleep the defending Pokemon. That way they can be inflicted with a special condition while you're attacking their bench Pokemon. So I like the strategy so far of this theme deck. And then Ampharos, 140 HP, does have an ability. First card in this deck to have an ability. It's called Shocking Light, and it says, once during your turn you may put 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon EX. So this is a very powerful ability. You can actually set this lineup on the bench, and if your opponent has any EX cards, you can attack them every single time. I like that move quite a bit. And then Gigavolt, for 3 energy cards, is 80 damage plus 40 more damage if you get a heads. If tails, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So this really works well with the other cards in this deck. So that is it for the lightning type Pokemon. Now we're on to the colorless type, or if you play the game's normal type. There is a 3-2 line of Aipom and Ambipom. 60 HP, good HP. Fiddle Around and Tail Jab are the 2 moves. Fiddle Around lets you look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck and put them back in any order. And then Tail Jab does 20 damage for 2 colorless energy cards. So just an average card there. It's probably one that I may even take out if I was trying to put in, more Hoopa or another Drifblim or put a Chandelure in. So there's the Aipom, and then there is Ambipom, a good HP, solid HP on a stage 1 with 90. And then 2 moves. Fury Chance does 20 damage plus discard the top card of your opponent's deck. If that card is an energy card, this attack does 60 more damage. So it can do 80 damage for only 1 energy card, and that's where Aipom's Fiddle Around move would work well. And then Double Hit does 50 damage times the number of heads you get when you flip 2 coins. Not as big a fan of that move just because with only 2 flips, there's a high probability you're going to only do 50 damage or less. And then the last Pokemon in this deck is Hawlucha, just 1. This one also has an ability called Sudden Cyclone, and it says when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may have your opponent switch his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her bench Pokemon. And then Acrobatics does 20 damage for 2 colorless energy cards plus 20 more damage for each heads. So Sudden Cyclone could be very useful, especially if a lot of their active bench Pokemon have damage on them. They may have to move in a Pokemon that has a ton of damage, and you can easily knock it out with whatever Pokemon's in the active Pokemon spot if it's one that can't spread damage around. So I like that card quite a bit. So overall, I like this deck quite a bit as well for the Pokemon. I'd say the previous deck, the Gears of Fire deck, I like a little bit better, but that one's more just of a straight attacking type deck. This one has a little bit more strategy to it. It can spread attack quite well. It can inflict special conditions on the defending Pokemon quite well. So I think if you're more of a strategy and more of a patient type of person, this is a deck for you. If you're more of just an all-out attacker, I think the Gears of Fire deck is more for you. But I would highly recommend both decks, at least based on their Pokemon. So that's it for the Pokemon. I'll go to the trainer cards, and for the most part, trainer cards are usually pretty similar deck to deck, at least with the same sets. And these are both for the Steam Siege sets. So Energy Retrieval, 2 of these, and put 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. This one doesn't make as much sense in this deck just because there's not a lot of moves that do the same thing in this deck. So I guess if you really need energy cards from your discard pile, this is a good one to have. And then Evo Soda is the next trainer card, only 1 of these, and it allows you to search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon. So if you have a lot of basic to stage 1 to stage 2, this card works well. And then Ninja Boy, I like this card quite a bit. It's new to Steam Siege. It says it's basically an exchange. You can exchange one of your basic Pokemon from your hand with one of the basic Pokemon in your deck. So a good example would be Aipom or a Joltik. If you don't want to use another one of those and put it on your bench, you can potentially exchange it for like a Hoopa, that type of thing. So a couple of Ninja Boy, 1 potion, and allows you to heal 30 damage from one of your Pokemon. So like Joltik, you're definitely going to use this. Actually, you couldn't use this because you couldn't use its full potential because even 30 damage on Joltik would defeat it, knock it out. But on some of the weaker Stage 1 cards with only 80 HP, this one would make sense. Professor's Letter, pretty standard trainer card, allows you to search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards and put them into your hand. There are 2 of these in the deck. And then Shauna, basically a recycle. You shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 5 new cards. That's useful in any deck. Tyranno, another trainer that's useful in any deck, allows you to draw 3 cards. 2 Tyranno cards. And then the final item / trainer is an Ultra Ball. It says to discard 2 cards from your hand, search your deck for Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So that's the same thing. A lot of times trainer cards only let you get basic cards from your deck. This one allows you to get whatever form you would like, potentially even an EX. So that's it for the trainer cards. I would say the ones from Gears of Fire were a little bit more appropriate for that deck, but these ones aren't bad as well. They're pretty standard stuff. They're going to work for you, especially if you're just a beginner. So last thing to show is the energy cards, 10 Psychic and 8 Lightning for a total of 18 energy cards. And just depending on how you use your trainers and what abilities you have on your Pokemon, you could increase or decrease your number of energy cards in your deck. So overall, I would have to give this deck a 4 out of 5 rating as well. I like both theme decks from the Steam Siege set quite well. Like I said when I was reviewing the Pokemon, more of just your style of play on which one to go with. If you're just a beginner, my recommendation for you is just go out and pick a theme deck that you either like the types of or you like the Pokemon of, because for the most part, you're just learning the game. So a specific strategy is not going to be that important to you. But overall, like I said, happy with this deck, and I would recommend it if you're looking to buy a theme deck. So on to the giveaway portion of this theme deck review. Pretty easy to do. All you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and then in the comment section of this video, state which of the 2 Steam Siege theme decks you like better, either Gears of Fire or Ring of Lightning. And that counts as your entry to this giveaway. At the end of September, I will be private messaging the winner of this theme deck using private messaging on YouTube, and there'll be a link in the description of this video with complete rules to entry for this giveaway, as well as a link on how to check your YouTube private messages. So good luck to everyone who enters. If you have any additional questions for me, make sure to message me or comment on this video. But again, good luck to everyone. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.